I'm Richard Treasure, this is my wife Allison. We've been together about 50 years. We met in the early 1960s during the Dwelling Up fire. I lived at a place called Hoffman Mill. We were evacuated from in front of the fire and we went to Harvey and stayed with Allison's family. In 1963 I joined the Navy and I was there for 12 years. I served on 7 ships and 3 shore establishments, and the best one was in Singapore. I first noticed hearing difficulties when I was in Vietnam. I was on a destroyer and I walked out onto the upper deck just as a 4-inch gun fired. And I've had tinnitus ever since, and my hearing just got worse and worse over the years. Hearing loss has affected my life in a number of ways. A lot of the time I've spent most of my working life driving, so I don't have to talk to anyone, and you only see the boss once a week. It's been very difficult when I'm going out into like a restaurant or a food hall. I can hear all the noise around me, but I can't hear human voices. It's been like that for years and years and years.
The other problem was he didn't want to go out, he didn't want to go to family functions, out to restaurants. He'd prefer to stay home in his own comfort zone. In one instant, we have a caravan, and in one instant he was reversing and I was yelling at him to stop, but he couldn't hear me. So in the end I had to jump out the way because he was going to run me over. It was quite frightening actually. And that's when I started nagging him to get a hearing aid. They seem to get very pig-headed when they can't hear. It's like they like being in their own little world. So it makes it very hard for the family. I think his main reason, he nearly ran me over, but when the grandchildren were little, he couldn't hear what they're saying. They were talking to him, but he didn't know that they were talking to him. So someone had to keep touching him on the shoulder to let him know the kids were trying to talk to him.
Initially I had a set of hearing aids, but they were only cheap ones. They were hopeless. I could not adjust them to anything. I still could not hear the human voice, which was crazy. What's the point of hearing noise around you when you can't hear someone talk? So eventually I went to the Lions Hearing Clinic. They tested me and they discovered I was eligible for a set of donated hearing aids, which I tried. They were far better quality. They changed my life dramatically because I could now have a conversation with my wife. Which was almost impossible before. It was like a shouting match.
And it's made so much difference, these hearing aids, because we've got the lady next door. She reckons she has her TV on, but she doesn't need to have the sound on because she can hear Richard's TV going all the time. But now we've turned it down, haven't we?
Yeah, that's for sure.
We went home the first day he had to put in. We went in on the train and we come back on the train, and we were going home, and I actually sat in the train and had a normal conversation with him because I didn't have to yell at him, whereas normally I wouldn't even talk to him because everyone in the train could hear what I was saying, so you just don't bother saying anything. We had a normal conversation on the way home, didn't we? It was the first one for a while.
It's been 50 years now. We're very close to it, which a lot of people think's amazing, but we don't.